Hello and welcome to the YouTube channel D Creations Resources. We are going to look at fundamentals of statistics. Well, usually students learn it in high school, but you encounter statistics at different stages in your college, in your profession, or in fact, even in your daily life. Therefore, this episode would be useful not only to high school students but also for anyone and everyone who encounters data in life. Well, data can be of different kinds. It could be cricket scores or social media likes or temperatures, or exam marks, profits and losses of a company, expenditures of different kinds, election results, and so on. You must have realized that how lives of all of us are flooded with data. And if this data is unorganized, then it can be a huge chaos or a confusion because it makes no sense at all. And that is where we need statistics. So, statistics is like an organizer who turns chaos into clarity. The idea is that every messy bunch of numbers is hiding some pattern, and with the help from statistics, we are able to see the story that these numbers need to tell by identifying that pattern. So, statistics is here to make our lives better by extracting meaningful information from the flood of numbers that we are surrounded with. There are 4 steps that are followed. First, the data is collected, then it is organized, that is followed by analysis, and finally, it is interpreted. So, now that the motivation behind statistics or studying statistics or using statistics is clear, let us try to begin the work actually. For that purpose, I am going to give you some raw data. That means a data set which is going to constitute of 10 data points. Or in simple words, I am going to give you 10 numbers. Now, I have called these numbers as marks scored by 10 students in a math test. But these are numbers, they can represent different things. So you can label it the way you want to. You can call them the scores of batsmen in a cricket match, or you can call them weights of your relatives and friends. It's up to you what you need to call them. The label is not important. What is important for us right now is those numbers and how we are going to analyze them so that they make sense to us. So note down these 10 numbers: 45, 56, 67, 78, 56, 89, 90, 45, 67, 67. So our first step of collection of data is done. Now we go to the next step, which is organization of the data. Now logically, how do you think we should organize this data? Naturally, when we find numbers, we are curious to know what is the lowest number and what is the highest number in this set. So, why not organize them in ascending order? When we organize these numbers in ascending order, the difference of the highest and the lowest value in this data is going to be called the range of the data. Now, while organizing it, you would also realize that some numbers are repeated. So, the number of times a particular number is repeated is called its frequency. So, let us make a table. In the first column, you will have a list of numbers. Give it the label that you want to give. I am giving the label marks, but if you wish, you can give the label runs or weights, whatever you've chosen. And second column is frequency. And of course, we are writing the numbers in the ascending order. So you would notice that the number 45 has occurred twice. So the frequency is 2. The number 56 has occurred twice. Again, the frequency is 2. The number 67 has occurred thrice, while the numbers 78, 89 and 90 have occurred once each. So now you have your table ready. You have organized the data in ascending order as well as with respect to the frequency. And since there are 10 numbers in total, obviously the addition of all the numbers which are listed under the column frequency is going to be 10. This table is called a frequency table. So you've built a frequency table and the data is represented as frequency distribution. How is the frequency distributed? Now, after collecting and organizing the data, the next step is to analyze the data. As part of this analysis, let us try to find the measure of central tendency. Now, you would ask, what is central tendency? Well, it refers to a single value that tries to describe an entire set of data by identifying a center point or a typical value around which all other data values cluster. Or in other words, when you have a bunch of numbers, instead of looking at all of them, it would be easier if you get one number that represents the whole set. So this representation comes in terms of measures of central tendency. And what are these? It's mean, mode, and median. So let us look at each one. Let us begin with mean, which is also called average. It is like a balancing point. So how do we find it out? If we add all the data points and divide this addition or this sum by the number of data points, that gives you the mean. We already have 10 data points with us. So add them all up and divide them by 10, and the answer that you get is going to be the mean. So if you add all them up, you will get the answer to be 660. I hope you have added them up yourselves. Otherwise, pause this video, add them up, then resume. Now you have to divide it by the number of observations, which is 10. So total is 660 divided by 10. So the average is 66. This is the mean. Now let's go to the next parameter, which is median. Median basically means the middle value. Now if the data points are odd, it's easy to just point out the middle value. But if they are even, then you have to take the middle two numbers and take their average. For example, in this case, when you organize them in ascending order, you will find that the two middle numbers are 67 and 67. So median is just going to be their average, which is 67 itself. So median is 67. Now let us go to the third measure of central tendency, which is mode. And it is actually the easiest one because it's the most frequent value. Now we have already formed our frequency distribution table, and we can see there that the frequency is maximum, that is 3, for the number 67. So here the mode is 67. So what did we do? We had data. So first step was gathering that data. Then we organized it in a frequency distribution table. In the first column, we listed the numbers in ascending order, and in the next column, we listed the number of times they have been occurring, which is called the frequency. After doing that, we understood what is measure of central tendency, and then we determined the three measures: mean, median, and mode. Mean is just sum divided by the total number, which in this case came out to be 66. Median is the middle value, which came out to be 67. And mode is the most frequent value, which came out to be 67. Now here it's a coincidence that the values have come out to be same, but that need not be the case every time. Alright? And if you recall, just when we had begun the calculations, we had also found out the range. Now, range is not a central measure, but still it's an important parameter, and that we had found out by subtracting the lowest value from the highest value. and that had come out to be 45, and that basically represented the spread of data. Now, how do you interpret this? So, again, if you see it in terms of marks, 66 are the average marks, or if you want to see it in terms of runs, 66 are the average runs, or 66 is the average weight, 66 kg. Then median is 67. That means if you find the middle value of all the marks, it is 67. Similarly, it is for runs as well as weights, whatever label you have chosen. And then if we want to find out what is the most frequently occurring value of marks, it is 67. So now the data is no more confusing or chaotic. Instead, we have organized it, we have analyzed it, and we have interpreted it. So that is the power of statistics, where we are going from chaos to clarity by organization and analysis.